Hello and welcome to the Redbrick Sport Podcast. My name's Olli, your host for today. We've got Alex with us. Say hello, Alex.
Hello.
And we've got Harry as well.
Hello.
Now, if you can't hear me at any point, I do apologise. Satan decided to shove a pitchfork down my throat during the night, and so my voice is pretty poor. So apologies.
Sure, it wasn't yourself consuming VKs.
It was not myself consuming VKs on a Sunday night, unfortunately. No. But yeah, so we'll start off talking about Premier League as normal. Arsenal 2, Tottenham 0.
Yes.
Alex.
Well, Oliver, I was actually at Cadbury World during this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was interesting. I won't speak too much about Cadbury World as it's not relevant to football.
Oh, except for Daniel Sturridge, because he was born in Bourneville.
Yeah,
he played for like the Cadbury Boys team or something.
He also played for Villa, like under 11s as well.
Oh, really?
So claim to fame for you.
Claim to fame
for Villa.
Well, like weirdly, he was in the programme of my brother's first ever Villa game. It was a 2-1 victory against Sheffield Wednesday in like 19 something, and there was like a little picture of the Villa under 11s team, and Daniel Sturridge was in it. Yeah,
very good.
So yeah, there's a little mention of my brother.
Well, there's an aside involving Harry's brother and Daniel Sturridge. Now, Alex, we've got a chance to talk about Arsenal.
About Arsenal. So I've watched the game back, and we just
90 minutes.
Yeah, I watched full 90. We were just very, very good. Like all the issues that are commonly associated with Arsenal basically weren't there. So if you think of like Ozil's work rate, he was tracking a lot. The team was sort of getting the ball back together. I think Mustafi made a massive difference. Just him being there. Obviously, I know we've been using Mertesacker in the centre back role of late, and I don't think he's up to it anymore. I know he's put in a few good performances, but Mustafi should be the one playing every single week. For me,
very good header. Although the main thing is, it wasn't a free kick. Exactly. Everyone knows it wasn't a free kick, but
that's the thing. Like we've had a few incidents go against us this season. This is what I'm on. I've said a few weeks ago on the podcast that winning games in the Premier League and games like that just a lot of the time comes down to luck, and it could have gone Spurs' way, but it went our way. So I was obviously really happy about that.
Do you think it was with obviously the first, with both of the goals going before half time, do you think it was wrapped up in the first half? Or?
I think Spurs had a few sort of decent chances in the second half, but it was one of those games that looked relatively like controlled.
Spurs have come from 2-0 behind relatively recently as well. They come from 2-0 to win 3-2 like 5 years ago.
Against Arsenal?
Yeah, at Emirates. I swear that definitely happened.
Don't know, I'm not sure. I know we've had a couple of like 4-3s and 4-4s. But yeah, the Spurs just really didn't look at the races. Kane was basically neutralised by Mustafi.
And Ali didn't have a good game either.
No, so that was what it fell down to really. It was just the lack of quality from them two. And a few, you could possibly say a few frailties at the back, but I'm not quite sure about that. But at the end of the day, Arsenal won, and that's 3 points, which I really didn't expect. I thought we'd get turned over 2 or 3-0 to be honest, going into the game, which says a lot about the current state of affairs.
Who have Arsenal got next week or Tuesday? Are they playing Tuesday?
They'll be playing midweek in the Europa League.
Not Thursday.
Alex likes to talk about those.
No, I'm not very interested in the
The next game, Arsenal have got next in the league. They have Burnley away.
So like I can see them getting beat there.
Well, you think this is kind of a psychological boost for them?
It's a win, but I think it's
a win over Tottenham. Or do you think that their players understand that?
I think it's contextual in relation to it being over Spurs.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Arsenal be that up for a game and that on it for a while, especially against good opposition.
Right.
You could possibly take it back to, I know last season we beat Chelsea 3-0, and then we had that famous 2-0 away win at City. The thing is, it's a famous away win, they're few and far between. But I think, last season we had 2 really weird games against Burnley where we won both, but
There was the dodgy goal at the end.
Yeah, it was Koscielny who basically handled the ball in. But I don't know. Burnley. I mean, we're on the same points as Burnley now.
Burnley have won 3 in a row.
Yeah, so I can see a draw. But to be honest, it could be one of those ones where Burnley win like 2-0 because they play their normal game and it works.
So you don't see there being realistically many positives to take from the weekend in terms of.
I mean, it's always a good boost, but I've said it before. Arsenal just.
It's whether they can sustain it. That's all it is. Consistency, it's just like sustainability.
They're in like a perpetual cycle of do well, hopes up, get beat, down, and then start again. It's like that happens every single season. We always beat one team quite convincingly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really go very far to sort of prove anything in the long run. But that being said, you still have to beat what's in front of you. And we did, so yeah, not too bad.
Well, just a word on that, you're playing against, let me find it, Cologne at 6 o'clock.
Cologne,
Yeah, on Thursday.
Away.
So, I mean, I don't know what that impact that has on the kind of group stage because we're getting towards the end of the.
Yeah, I really don't care, to be honest. Like, there's a lot of good teams in the Champions League that finish in third in their group. So one of them, I think Atletico are going to finish third in their Champions League group.
At the moment, it looks like it.
Yeah, so like we aren't going to beat them over 2 legs. So I'm really not worried, to be honest. The only way I'd be interested, like United fans were last season, is if Arsenal win it and don't qualify for the Champions League automatically, so they get back in through that. But don't see it happening, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, we will move on to another kind of the big six, as it were. I don't know whether you call it that anymore or not. But
Big
Chelsea
six,
against
Big
West Brom.
Big 6, bottom 14.
At the Hawthorns, local ground to us, of course. 4-0 win for Chelsea.
They just did look really good.
Pulis sacks.
It led to the downfall of Tony Pulis.
I have a theory about this. Something I saw on Twitter before is that Pulis leaving West Brom and Chris Coleman going to Sunderland have like overlapped.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Like, I can see Pulis as being the next
he will be. Like, I'm willing to like put a 10.
And I'm not really against it, to be honest. Even though I don't really like Pulis either as like a man or a manager, I would not mind him as well.
Well, he's
I can see him getting the best out.
He's a mini maximiser. Pulis. He does well with limited resources, and Wales, although obviously he did get to the semi-finals of the Euros, he didn't get to the World Cup. So really, in the grand scheme of things, you aren't a great side. You could be, like with a few like.
What do you mean? Well, obviously, not a great side as in its quality at all. But
exactly, that's what I mean. You have you have a few good players, but the overall quality of the team. But Pulis is good at making bad players play at a minimum level of sort of acceptable standard. That's what he's done at West Brom for 3 years.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
I still can't believe Coleman went to Sunderland.
Yeah, he's really like undervalued himself.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I'm not. I mean, to be fair, like, I think it's one of those things. If you do well as an international manager, it doesn't necessarily carry over into a club's form. But I'm not sure Sunderland or any club in the Premier League who might have hired him would have taken that into account.
Yeah.
I think for Sunderland, it's a bit of a coup, really. So.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, like, he has managed in the Premier League. Whether or not it was 10, like, it probably is about 10 years ago. The last time he managed in the Prem now. But I would say, on balance, and especially considering where Sunderland are in the league, it may not have been that bad if they had a good owner of the club and they were sitting in like 9th in the Championship. That automatically that would look way more attractive.
Yeah, it's like they're not going to get near playoffs.
No, not at all. No, they should be looking.
Well,
to stay
saying that, didn't Roy Keane took over Sunderland a few years ago and took them from? Was it Sunderland?
Yeah,
it was Sunderland.
Yeah, he got them up.
Yeah. So. But
different situation.
Very different situation.
And they don't have the same quality, I would say, as they did then.
Yeah, I remember Sunderland played the first game of the Championship. It was on TV. And I remember looking at that team and thinking, that is barely League One.
Yeah, like a lot of the
crazy.
players, like I think the Aidan McGeady has gone to Sunderland, hasn't he?
Did you see the highlights from the We're talking about Sunderland now, but whatever.
Yeah,
the Sunderland Millwall.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like I don't often like talking about goalkeepers having bad games, but
that was a 0-0 game.
Yeah, every single goal it got worse. The mistakes.
I think the second Sunderland goal was the worst one.
Where
Jordan Archer steps into it. It's typically what happened on FIFA in a pro clubs match. It's like your keeper steps into the goal with his hands.
Well, yeah. Oh well.
Anyway, back to Chelsea. Chelsea did look. I don't know. Did you watch the game, Olli?
I didn't see the game.
Yeah, they did look really good. Like they looked more imperious than I've seen them this season.
A lot of people put that down to the presence of, not the presence, but the form of Eden Hazard.
Yes, he was back to his sort of best, really. I'd say I don't rate Hazard as the best player in the Premier League. I know a lot of people do, but he in some games he is absolutely fantastic. But I still maintain he didn't score a Premier League goal for 356 days. So does that? But in the Leicester title winning season, he didn't score one for 356 days. So I'd say on that basis, you've got to sort of question him as a player, but nevertheless, he still did it really well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, there's been so much going around him and Zidane recently.
Courting Madrid.
He mentions him in, there was an interview with Soccer AM where they were talking about managers and how players don't transition well into managerhood or something like that. Managership, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. So we don't talk that realm of existence. But he even brought up Zidane as people don't do it well other than Zidane. It's just at that point, how it's not really relevant to the interview that you're doing with Tubes or whatever. Tubes. So
it's fair.
It's a weird environment, but again, obviously, as a Chelsea fan, you kind of love to see him on the pitch.
Yeah. I think it's probably
he's just inconsistent.
It's like a slightly less destructive version of Alexis Sanchez because you know he could leave. You know he's your best player.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where it's do I like him for now? Do I love him for the good he's doing now, or do I despise him because I know he'll be gone?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's more certain than Sanchez. I think Sanchez probably will see out his contract and go, but
does that end in the summer?
Yeah. So we'll see. Could go in January, but what I found another thing interesting was that Morata just has adapted to the Premier League really well.
Yeah.
Because games like West Brom away are the games that make it, especially as an untested. He hasn't got the best goal record. Let's take that into consideration. I don't think he got into double figures for Juve over the 2 seasons he was there. He was better at Madrid last year.
Wait, over the 2 seasons?
Yeah, no, he scored. I think he scored 7 goals.
First choice.
I think he scored 7 goals in the first season and 9 in the second. He played 35 games over the 2.
But it's when you watch him play, you get the sort of feeling.
It's just his quality. It's he's got that.
Well, the assist against West Brom.
He's got a similar thing to Harry Kane in that he's not the strongest, he's not the quickest, not the tallest. I mean, he's relatively he's 6'3", but there are bigger strikers than him in the Premier League. But he still manages to sort of be in the right place. He's got that instinct, which just makes him
he's got a bit of elegance about him as well.
Yeah, he does. I think he's one of those players. If he stays in the Premier League for a while, we'll remember him as.
And that's why I think it's impressive because he came in and Conte was talking about him as he still needs a lot of time to adapt to the game and to the way we're playing. And he just has like you say, it's not he's never had the physical beastly aspect that Costa had
or Drogba or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like a nice fusion of Torres and Drogba. Torres in his prime, I will say. So not at Chelsea, but the sort of finesse of Torres, but the sort of strength and
I'd say
adaptability of Drogba. So
but no,
it's really good.
It's very impressive to see. It's really, really kind of good looking forward as well.
Good looking. Do you fancy Morata?
No, it's really.
I think he means
it's good to see looking forward.
But he is quite good looking.
Yeah. So, he is. He's aesthetically pleasing.
Spanish good looks.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all you can say about Chelsea. They're not, like, we're not going to talk about the title in relation to Chelsea at the moment. Or ever for that until the season.
What game's next?
The next game on our list. Should we go with Liverpool-Southampton? Is that something we're talking about?
Liverpool were it's just dominant, really. There's not really a lot you can say, like, apart from Salah. Again, it's out of a similar vein to Morata. I didn't think he'd adapt to the league that well.
Yeah.
He has played in it before, but early in the spirit. Did he play in the Premier League?
He played.
Must have played like 2 or 3 games.
Well, his like first appearance for Chelsea was coming on in the last 15 minutes against Arsenal in that 6-0 win and scoring. But after that, he
didn't he leave because Mourinho made him cry? I think that's the consensus around.
I don't know. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I think he was crying. He was crying in the dressing rooms at training because Mourinho was just overly harsh to him and to no one else. And so he's just like, I've had enough.
Because he joined in the January of 13-14.
Yeah.
And then left in the summer of that year.
So. But yeah, no, he's top scorer in the Premier League now, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah. Scored 9 this season in 11 games, I think. So he's doing really well. I think it's just his pace and his he's actually quite good at finishing. Like, there's a lot of wingers who are that pacey. That's their main attribute. But I think his skill on the ball. Him and Mane are both so good on the ball. It's like you've got like two aspects to that attack.
Yeah.
With Firmino sort of helping them out, because Firmino doesn't get a lot of goals, but he provides a lot and sort of just creates a lot of opportunities for both Mane and Salah. So Liverpool do look good, but it's the same old story. They need to buy defenders and sort out their
get a better keeper.
Yeah, and play Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson, is that right? I think it is. At left back. I don't know if he's injured, but he needs to get back involved. I suppose we can talk about Man United as well.
Yeah, Man United 4, Newcastle 1.
I watched all of this game.
Early signs of positivity with Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle were really good. Like, over the whole game, Newcastle were pretty good.
Yeah.
So like the goal that Gale scored was a really well worked chance. Like, not a lot of teams. I feel like not a lot of teams have been allowed that sort of space at United this season. There was loads of times where Shelby or Isaac Hayden were picking up the ball on the edge of the box, and they had acres of space to run into. I think it was quite a stretched game because United, once they conceded that goal, they really had to go for it, and obviously they did. And they look so much better with Pogba in that team. Like, I don't want to say it because I think Pogba is now shaking off the whole price tag thing. But like the cross for the Martial goal was just was world class. And his like the way he dominates the pitch and the area that he plays in is basically unprecedented in the Premier League.
Do you think he has shaken off the price tag?
I think in the context of Neymar, no, like it's.
Well, yeah, in the context of Neymar, but what I'm saying is not in terms of the general mainstream media, but do you think he has provided his worth for that already?
Well, you'll say at the end of the season if he manages to sort of. I mean, to be fair, like if United get second, you can probably say like, although it's not a league win, it's a lot better than last season, and they're back in the big time, like for back in the big time to stay. So I would say on that basis, he is worth the money, and he's such a good marketing player. Like that's one aspect that people forget about.
Yeah,
he is probably like. He's probably like the third or fourth most marketable player in the world, I'd say.
His image rights.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't imagine the sum that are attached to those.
I think possibly Neymar is the only player that sort of will be around for a while yet that is more marketable than Pogba. So from that perspective, I'd say probably
the other guy, Ronaldo, do you reckon? In terms of the most marketable.
Well, I'd say Ronaldo is top for the moment, but he's 32, so
yeah.
You know, like how long is he going to be? I don't know. Ronaldo could play for 6 more years.
I'll have him at centre back at Villa when he's 38.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Ronaldo become like a centre midfielder.
What would you do then? Put Jednak up front? Is that
That's it.
the vibe?
Jednak should already be up front.
10 goals in World Cup qualifying.
0 goals for Villa.
It's stupid, isn't it?
Well, I was going to say he should take our pens, but Doma's pretty good at pens.
So what other games?
Talking about Ronaldo, actually.
Well,
sorry.
City, up to us, City, yeah.
Yeah, City.
What are you saying about Ronaldo?
Sorry, no, I overheard someone chatting about it earlier. That apparently Ronaldo has got like more. He's had more children than
In
last
goals.
like 5 months in goals.
Goals.
or something like
He's
that.
scored 1 goal in La Liga.
Yeah,
And he's got a conversion rate of 1.8%.
Yeah, he said it.
So,
and there was the Messi
like
statistic
50 odd
which is going
shots.
around that
yeah.
he would have to score all of his next however many goals to
Yeah.
even get the same conversion rate as Messi.
It's Ronaldo. I don't know if it's just like a sort of drop off in form. I'm not really sure what it is. It's just like he ain't getting the chances, but it's sort of happening at a time when Madrid aren't really playing that well either. So
I mean, I didn't see the derby, but it didn't sound entertaining.
it was 0-0, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, so
Yeah. Should we talk about Man City?
we can indeed talk about Man City.
Man City will win the league.
But can we say that Manchester City should have been down to 10 men after 2 minutes?
Yes, but we were discussing this, weren't we? We only are certain about that because it was Vardy.
Yeah.
If it was someone slower, or someone who we know probably wouldn't have taken the chance, whatever, does it make a difference? Do referees have to have an objective view on it, or do they do it subjectively?
I think in the case that, because the reason you'd be sending company off is that he's last man and that he's prevented a goal scoring opportunity, then obviously if a player...
But it's a goal. We know it's a goal scoring opportunity because it's Vardy. Like John Stones is coming round. He's not that far away from him, but we intuitively we know Vardy probably would have got away.
Because we know
with his pace.
because we know Vardy's potential acceleration.
But the point is, does the referee take that into account?
No, not really. Like unless it's very clear cut and you've got a lot of time to think about it, I don't think you can because at the end of the day, you have to treat like Vardy as footballer A in that situation.
Yeah, that's
You
what I
can't
mean. So that's like what the referee would use as defence.
Yeah,
he has to do it objectively.
But I would say, even so, that's still a red card.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I agree. Probably it should have been a red card. Looking at it,
and that could have. I mean, it probably wouldn't have changed the game that much, to be honest, because
Yeah.
City would have just adjusted to it.
City did have a 75% possession.
Yeah, so they probably would have had about 65% instead. No, that's probably true. They probably still would have dominated the ball, but I suppose Leicester would have had a bit more impetus.
Yeah.
Leicester didn't look too bad though. I thought they looked all right. But it's just City I mean, the Jesus goal is just
Yeah,
it's so
unbelievable.
good. It's like
But we've seen it so many times before already.
Yeah.
It's
going to get
crazy.
soon, isn't it?
No, I don't think it will.
Halfway through the season,
It's nice.
City won the league.
If I'm a City fan, I'm never getting bored of that.
It is beautiful to see their football though. In all fairness.
As a football, I would say as a football purist, because I'm not sure a football purist can get behind how City got there, but as a person who enjoys watching flowing football,
Yeah, as in purely aesthetic.
Yeah,
It's like all the players are at their prime.
yeah, they're all colliding together. It creates such a
Sané, Jesus, De Bruyne, they're all.
Yeah.
It's like they've got three of their players are in the top 7 for goals in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Then the top 3 for assists in the league are all City players.
Just because of the amount of goals there's
The top inside the top 7, the amount of passes made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The top 5 are City players.
Yeah, there we go.
So,
Granit Xhaka in second there, or third, is it?
That's really
Third.
surprising.
Yeah, that is quite surprising, but he plays in the Arsenal team, it's kind of expected.
I mean, the only thing they're lacking in that sense is their amount of saves.
Yeah, but they're not facing as
Saves is such a weird stat. The keeper with the most saves is always
at the bottom of the league. Yeah, Lucas Fabianski. There you go. So, we can talk about Burnley Swansea if you'd like.
Can indeed.
Burnley's third win in a row. The first time in the top flight since 1975.
And they're level on points with Arsenal and Liverpool. So, like, I think it just shows. It just shows like what you can do with that sort of like that. It's such a throwback, isn't it, to like hard work and just sort of determination. And like Tom Heaton isn't even in that side of the It's like
Pope.
Yeah, Nick Pope is the goalkeeper, and it's just like fair play to him. Like you can't knock them at all. Really, they're doing so well on one of the worst on paper, one of the worst sides in the league.
Yeah, they're level on points at the moment with Arsenal and Liverpool.
Yeah. I mean, if they get 15 points, they're safe.
If they do finish, 9th, 10th.
Yeah.
What do you think will happen to them next year? Because do you reckon they'll ever adapt into because obviously we associate this Burnley style football to them.
Yeah.
Do you reckon they'll ever adapt, sign some good players and start changing the way they play football?
Well,
a bit like how Stoke.
Yeah, I was going to say Stoke is the obvious example to compare it to. If they can get stable, because I mean this is like obviously they stayed up last season, but they need to sort of do it like 4 or 5 years in a row. I'd say probably, and they'd probably make some sort of transition. But
I think that would happen though. I think Sean Dyche would have to be bought out, or he'd have to decide to leave the club. I think it would only come with managerial change.
Okay, just like how when Pulis left Stoke, Mark Hughes came and changed it.
Yeah, I mean, arguably if they came with new ownership or something like that, and they were putting pressure on the manager.
I can't imagine
to an investor, they're not.
Like a Saudi Arabian businessman now.
Exactly.
Like, oh yes, Burnley, great club. To be fair, West Brom are owned by Chinese investors. It's like it's gone.
Well, they don't have a concept of that. They see, this team's finished 9th in the Premier
League club. Yeah, it's just the cash cow that it possibly represents. But yeah, no, it's just you look at Burnley, you're just it's just a small town in Lancashire, and they're punching way above their weight. And long may it continue, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
more of that in the Premier League.
I mean, with kind of Dyche and that, obviously the Everton situation isn't quite resolved, but I don't think he'll leave.
Yeah,
I think they'll give it to Unsworth, for quite a while. And I'll give it to him until February or something, or at least they'll definitely give it to him until at least Christmas, I'd say.
Yeah,
I might be proven wrong.
But then his wife will want to move to Newcastle, and I'll have to go, won't he? That's why he moved from, because he played for Villa for a bit in his career, and his wife didn't like Birmingham or something.
Oh, really?
But he did play for Everton for quite a while. I would probably say his wife's from Liverpool, so
maybe.
Do you know where they lived in Birmingham, or is it just a...
Celio.
Can you imagine if they lived in Celio? That would be even obviously back then it would have been a little bit better, but I wouldn't wish that on any grown person, to be honest.
Alright then, we'll move on from Burnley and Celio. That looks well. Other than AFC Bournemouth against Huddersfield, 4-0 to the Bournemouth with a player sent off. Hat-trick for Callum Wilson.
Hat-trick?
Hat-trick, did I say that?
Sorry.
Hat-trick for Hat-trick for Callum Wilson.
Yeah.
With another added by Harry Arter. Any
I suppose you could make the argument that Wilson's now England's best striker and he should be in the squad come May. But
maybe he should.
Yeah, but no, because he'll just do his ACL and then he'll be out for 9 months.
Yeah.
Have you seen the amount of injuries he's had in the last 3 years? It's just
But it makes you think what would have happened if he didn't get injured. But
I don't know. I don't
think
he's particularly good. I just think he's one of those strikers who just has bags of pace and
can finish.
Yeah, he can finish, but I think the problem is I've seen a guy talk about this on Twitter, is that the reason why people didn't rate Harry Kane for a long time is that in our minds, objectively, we think of the most superior attacker as an attacking midfielder, and if a striker is good and scores a lot of goals but doesn't have that sort of creative part to his game, he naturally gets underrated a lot more.
Well, in the argument, I guess
Do you agree with me or not?
But you've got to look at it in terms of like how much the player can function without the rest of the team. So are they gonna be like making the team better for their own independent value, or are they kind of reliant on the amount of service they get? Because like some strikers
can they make a goal out of nothing?
Some strikers can create a goal out of nothing, and some.
Yeah, that's how you know. Yeah, like I use Villa strikers as examples. Benteke used to do that at Villa, just make a goal out of nothing. Kodja has the ability to do that as well.
Whereas Nicholas Kalini has never had the ability.
He had the ability to get his pants taken down by Tonga shorts. Yeah, I suppose.
Pants,
otherwise that would be very bad.
Yeah, we've never seen that in the Premier League.
His shorts taken down by Vertonghen, and then he kept them down just to demonstrate to the referee why it shouldn't be a penalty.
And look how their careers have gone ever since. Vertonghen's gone upwards.
So there's a lesson for you.
If you want to become the Premier League's best centre half, pull down a striker's shorts.
In the box.
Yeah. There we go.
Interesting debate to be had. Bournemouth are they're 3 points above where West Brom are, but no one's calling for Eddie Howe's be sacked, are they?
It's a different situation.
So, obviously, I know it's a different situation, but at the same time, they're not exactly that far.
It's early stages. Like I feel like West Brom sacking Pulis is a bit silly, to be honest. Like I've seen a few tweets this morning saying the best man to get West Brom out of this situation is Tony Pulis. Sack him.
I think Gary Lineker made a joke, didn't he, that they should sack him, wait a couple of weeks, then hire him back and save them.
Yeah, exactly. But we all know that Big Sam will be there.
He's perfect for a minute, really.
Yeah, I think Tony Pulis and Big Sam could literally form some sort of racket where one of them gets hired and then sacked, and then the one who gets sacked gets the compensation for being fired, like the redundancy package, and then they put it into a big pot which they invest in something, I don't know, and then they just draw it all back at the end and get all the money from it.
One lovely conspiracy.
I mean, it's probably
I was going to say it's probably not that far from a conspiracy.
Well, I mean, we all know about Sam Allardyce's financial dealings, but we won't go into them.
No, we won't talk about this throwing of money.
I just think Sam Allardyce, we all it's a bit of a moot point. Who cares about what Sam Allardyce does at West Brom? I don't. I don't know if you guys do. I'm pretty sure
it's not the top.
He does badly.
Yeah, but when no one. And then Allardyce gets sacked at April. Oh, look who's back, Tony Pulis.
Yeah, no chance. Well, who's the next Allardyce?
Pardew.
Well,
he's not though, but he's just one of those managers who seems to.
He's another one on the merry-go-round.
I feel like he's in the jobs for the boys brigade.
Steve Bruce is a bit like that.
I feel like less so. Steve Bruce has had quite a much better. He probably hasn't had a much better career than them, but I feel like he's retained some sort of.
He's still more respected.
Yeah, he's retained some sort of respect by not being quite as overt.
Even though he's been relegated most.
But there we go.
Strange.
Well, I think it was I don't know. I think it was Alan Shearer who said Pulis' career has been 3 or 4 months of good progress has been ruined by 10 or 11 games. He's just been judged on that. So
but it's the whole short-termism thing in the Premier League. If West Brom go down, then they probably would come back up, but who knows what sort of financial pitfall they could fall into if the owners pull out. And then it's just one of those things. The Premier League's the biggest security that you could imagine as a football owner, and to fall out of that would be incomprehensible for most owners. And it's just it gets to the point where you will. It's like I said before, it's an arms race. You have to use the most amount of resources you can in order to maximise your output in order to stay in the security zone that is the Premier League. So,
on that note, we're going to go to a break. And we're back again with the Redbrick Sport Podcast after the break. We're going to talk about some Sunday fixtures and the Championship now. So over to our resident expert, Harry.
Resident expert on.
He's a resident expert on Sunday fixtures. You only know about football on Sundays. He's the opposite of a Christian. He takes Saturdays off.
Well, yeah, okay. So what am I talking about?
You're talking about the Sunday
Championship.
Well, there's not that much to talk about in the Championship. We've already talked about the funny Sunderland-Millwall game.
True.
The 2-2. Definitely worth watching highlights of that. Villa 1-2 away at QPR. Albert Adoma
refused to celebrate.
Refused to celebrate because he's a QPR fan.
He's a QPR fan?
Yeah, it's interesting.
To be fair, he started his career at Barnet, didn't he? So he's a little.
But he's never played for QPR, has he?
No.
It's strange. You rarely see that. To be fair, I don't mind it because if I was a professional footballer and I scored 2 goals away at Villa, I wouldn't celebrate, or I wouldn't want to celebrate. But yeah, I don't mind. He's our top goal scorer and good player.
They're in 5th now as well. So
5th, yeah.
It's quite good.
We're playing Sunderland on tomorrow night.
I was going to say, we've got midweek games this week.
Home, yeah.
Nice.
You might be able to go. 2 season tickets. Depends if Ross fancies making a trip.
Of course,
Yeah, see Chris Coleman. So that's quite a. It's a strange game because before the season started, you'd be like, "Oh, that's like a crunch game," but
not really.
we expect this to win.
Well,
really,
to see Chris Coleman.
Yeah.
So,
If I see him, if I see him coming off the bus, I'll definitely try and talk to him.
Okay, bro.
Yes.
Should we talk about other clubs close to our hearts?
We can do,
yeah.
So, Harry, Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury, absolutely bossing it in League One, 4 points clear at the top.
Well,
They've got a game in hand as well.
Just look.
Scored an injury time winner away at Rotherham.
Yeah, Stephen Payne.
Yeah, so they have got a game in hand as well.
They have. Well, they're on the same games as Wigan, but they've got a game in hand over Bradford, Scunthorpe, and Oxford and Rotherham.
It's absolutely meant because they were pretty much tipped for relegation at the start of the season.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
To think that they were so desperate last season for the first half.
And they've got the second highest goal difference in League One as well.
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah,
it makes them beating Villa in pre-season look a lot less bad on Villa.
In context, I agree. It's quite good if you look at the calibre of teams in the top half of League One. Obviously, Wigan, Bradford should be in the Championship due to their stadium size and fan base. And Charlton and Blackburn, both former Prem clubs. Yeah. So Portsmouth, there, Blackpool. There's a lot of teams that should be.
If Shrewsbury go up and Villa don't get promoted, it'll be really strange for me because I was born in Shrewsbury, so theoretically,
you have an allegiance.
Yeah, allegiance to them, but they've always been in Conference League, League Two. So
have they ever been in the same league as Villa?
Probably in the 80s, maybe when Villa. I think Villa got relegated in 1987, but that was the last time they got relegated.
There's no guarantee Shrewsbury in the.
I'm pretty sure Shrewsbury had a good period around that time. Okay. I did ask my granddad that question, and he said pretty much that. There was a period. But yeah, it'd be very strange.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And Crew, how did Crew do?
Crew, well, to be honest, it's weird. The story of Crew this season has been one of real hope and excitement at the start, as weird as that sounds. So Crew, after 5 games, Crew were in 3rd, and looking good. We hadn't scored a lot of goals, and weirdly, at one stage of the season, our only goal scorers had the forename Chris. That's quite a nice little thing. Chris Dagnall and Chris Porter were the only 2 goal scorers that we had. I'm not even sure there's many. I think Jordan Bowery got one on Saturday. So,
what a boy, Villa legend.
Yeah, I've served Jordan Bowery before, but
you sharp.
I'll leave that. But we lost to Forest Green, who are also doing quite badly. Crew now are in 22nd, I think.
Really?
They are in
22nd. Wow. So we've lost 11 games, and I think out of the last 11, I think we've only won 1 or 2, maybe 1 even. And the problem is with Crewe, and it's happened so much, is that they lose games. They sort of like switch off past 80 minutes. I think they probably. I reckon if you looked in the Football League, after 80 minutes, Crewe conceded the most goals this season. I think they must have.
Really?
Yeah, they must have conceded about 12 goals after 80.
Villa had a similar problem last year.
Yeah, but it was a real mental trauma for them in League One. I remember there was one game against Doncaster where Crewe went 2-1 up in the 89th minute and still lost 3-2.
Yeah.
And it happened. I mean, it didn't happen in such dramatic circumstances on Saturday, but 83rd and 92nd minute were the goals for Forest Green, and it's happened to us twice this season as well. And it's typical like Crewe sort of. I don't know, it's just depressing, to be honest. And like the fan base is sort of shrinking a bit every year, and they're not really producing the same quality of youth players. I mean, like the only player that Crewe produced in the last like 4 or 5 years is Nick Powell, but like
where is he? Is he
he's
still
at Wigan? But like he should be in the Prem. Like quality wise, he's good enough, but
still got his coat.
I do have a coat. But that's it's just a depressing thing. If you ever go past the stadium on a match day, you wouldn't really be able to tell they were playing, to be honest. Apart from the car park being full, that's it. It's just a sad state of affairs, and to be honest, everyone thought that David Artell, being manager, would sort of bring us back up a little bit, maybe looking at top half promotion this season, but I'm afraid we'll be nowhere near it. I do think I don't know if he'll get sacked, because Crewe tends to hang on with their managers, but I know that if Crewe fall into the conference, they're done for.
It's funny that you use that kind of like, you say it like that, because he's come out today and said that they face oblivion if they don't stay up. So.
Well, like, literally, like Crewe as a club is unsustainable at the best of times. So in the conference, it's just. I honestly don't see Crewe. I see Crewe would like.
If you see Nantwich taking.
Possibly. I mean, Nantwich have got their own problems, but Nantwich are actually not doing very well this season. But that's another.
Well, is any team doing well in there?
In South Cheshire. I'm not sure. I think
Shrewsbury have taken everyone's positiveness.
Yeah, the Shropshire sides have stolen stolen the talent.
Who are you including in the Shropshire sides?
Shrewsbury.
Telford. TNS.
TNS
is technically a Shropshire side.
Yeah, so that's that. I don't really have anything else to say on the Crewe debate. It's thoroughly depressing, and I wish to not talk about it now.
Okay, well, we'll have an update in 3 months when they're top of the league.
No, never gonna happen.
Never ever.
Never ever.
Hopeful young.
Not this season, anyway.
I guess we did miss out talking about Watford and West Ham.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else.
Watford just.
Any observations on David Moyes' first game and loss in Charles?
So Moyes, obviously. But Moyes has come out with some really weird quotes, like some really like. What he would say is like. He sounds quite careless. Like he's like. I think he said about saying some home truth to the players, and if they don't like it, then they're going to leave. And it's like, you say to every single player. They're just all good to go. And he said, I think he said something extremely bizarre about. He sounded rather sort of careless again about the job, because he's only got a 6-month contract, and he says that if it doesn't go well, I'll just enjoy the sights of East London for a few months. But it's like, wow. Yeah, you just can't imagine like David Moyes having that outlook.
I think he's just sort of. The Man United experience has just meant his relationship with the media, in his own head, it's so tattered and damaged.
Well, he had that.
He doesn't care anymore what he says.
He had that issue with the woman last season, didn't he?
The whole comment.
So that was.
I won't try and paraphrase it.
But yeah, and he's just like, I think it's the wheels have fallen off for Moyes. It's just like, I think it's because he had that big reputation at Everton. And he went to test it and it didn't work, and it's not worked since. And but that's all we can say. Watford with another win. I suppose that's positive for them, because Marco Silva's. I think Marco Silva's turned down Everton now, so hopefully.
Let's talk about Richarlison.
Yeah,
Moving
going
on
to like Spurs or
Yeah.
someone. Yeah, I can see that. But I don't know about Richarlison. I'm not sure. Don't like him really, but
I don't like him as a player, but he's undoubtedly talented.
he's scored 6 Premier League goals now, I think, this season. Or 5 or
Strange
6.
because you would have expected Andre Gray to be the
No.
main man.
Richarlison's a big man.
Yeah.
But,
To be fair,
Ajax
Troy-
were after him, weren't they? So,
Who were after him?
Ajax.
Oh, right.
Ajax nearly got him in the summer, so I think that kind of shows you his like talent. But nevertheless, that's it's Premier League done.
Premier League and League One and League Two.
I mean, Stoke Brighton tonight, or Brighton Stoke, which should be a rather average game.
I don't think it will turn many heads in my
No,
honest opinion.
it's probably
It's
better.
strange that. It's strange how our sort of general perception of teams just means because Brighton are quite exciting team to watch in a way.
Well, they're like less predictable than your average bad Premier League team.
And Stoke have Stoke are a fun team to watch. They always bring Crouch on after 60 minutes. It's amazing.
Yeah, to be
You have
fair.
Shaqiri who can have an amazing game or a terrible game.
Yeah.
I'm still going to watch that. I enjoy it. What?
Who's Sessegnon still at Stoke?
Yeah, he's on loan, isn't he? So scored against Arsenal. So
I reckon it's going to be a great game. It's going to be
to be
6.
fair, there was that Monday Night Football like last year, which was West Brom Burnley, and West Brom won 4-0.
I was going to say that ended up being one of the best games of the season.
Yeah, it was really weird because we were all just writing it off.
Right.
But there we go.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing it tonight.
Well, AOB, any other business? That you'd like to discuss?
AOP.
No, we go to UOB, Ollie, you silly idiot. No, I don't think so.
Well, have you got no more outstanding issues? As always, if you want
I
us to
saw my
discuss-
favourite moment of the weekend was in the West Brom Chelsea game when McLean went clean through at the end and 1-1 and he hit it wide and Courtois started celebrating because that's how much a clean sheet means to a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
4-0 up. Obviously if they scored it wouldn't matter that really.
Yeah,
But
means a lot
it
to
still
the
means
fantasy team
matters.
as well.
Yeah. There you go.
But well, if you ever have anything you'd like us to discuss, then please do feel free to get in contact on Facebook or Twitter with the Redbrick Sport pages. But otherwise, thank you very much for listening for this week, and we will hopefully see you again next week. From Ollie, it's goodbye. From Harry, it's
Goodbye.
goodbye. Alex,
See you.
thank you very much for listening.